In Nevada County, there's a place where tails wag and hearts heal. It's called Sammie's Friends, a nonprofit animal shelter, giving abandoned and injured pets a second chance. From emergency medical care to loving adoptions, Sammie's Friends is saving lives every day. But they can't do it without you. Donate, adopt, volunteer. Sammie's Friends, because every animal deserves a chance to be loved. Visit sammiesfriends.org.
Now I'm very pleased to introduce to you the executive director from Sammie's Friends, Miss Fran Cole. Thanks for being on the program, Fran. We had Dr. Richard Jackson on earlier, and we talked about a myriad of different topics, and I wanted to ask you about your views on spay and neutering.
Well, obviously, I'm a big proponent of spaying and neutering. We have at our shelter coming in probably 75 to 90% of all the animals that come in are not spayed or neutered. So under state law, we have to spay and neuter them before they are adopted out. So that can be quite challenging. What we are seeing happening now is it's not a single animal. People are bringing in full litters of kittens and puppies. You know, right now we have 97 kittens in foster because we don't like to have kittens at the shelter. It's not a great environment for them. But one thing that I wanted to talk to the audience about is early spay neuter and what that means in the shelter environment. Now, Dr. Jackson spoke very well about spay neuter and a desire. It's his feeling that some of the literature says that you should wait until a female dog has had a couple of heat cycles, or especially with larger dogs, that you allow them a little more time for their bones to develop. That isn't possible in a shelter environment because we have to have all the animals spayed or neutered before they're released. We don't have the liberty of waiting because just as soon as we end up getting rid of and adopting out one puppy, then we get a litter of puppies just coming in. So it is shelter practice, and UC Davis has the Coret Medicine Unit, and they provide advice and protocols for shelter medicine. So what we need to do is when we have kittens or puppies, we need to have them spayed and neutered at an earlier age than would be at a private practice. This becomes a little challenging sometimes because most of our kittens and puppies we don't like to keep at the shelter. So we foster them out, and usually with puppies and kittens, it's a foster to adopt. Oftentimes the potential adopter, this is currently the foster and the foster to adopt situation, will take their pet or kitten or puppy to a vet, and the vet will say, well, you need to wait because it's better medicine to wait, but that's not possible for us.
And you've been in the trenches for many years, so
I have been. I was the first dog walker in 2001, and I've seen amazing changes in Sammie's Friends and in how animals are treated in our community by the shelter.
Right.
Because when I first started at Sammie's Friends as a volunteer, I was only dog walker. So I walked all the dogs, and it was, it could be quite a long day, although not as long as it is now. But in those days, 2/3 of all the animals, cats and dogs, were euthanized. And it didn't have anything to do with behavior. It just had to do with opening up space. Because in those days, shelters really had the purposes of protecting the public and reuniting stray dogs with their owners. There was not a focus on adoption, and that has made life very, very different for us at shelters. But I'm really proud of what we've accomplished at Sammie's Friends and how we've helped 30,000 plus animals since its inception.
Everybody knows about Sammie's Friends of Nevada County. Fran, tell us about initiatives happening with regards to spay and neutering.
Well, right now, the biggest initiative locally is that Nevada County is instituting a program to fund community spay neuter, which is the first time the county has ever done that. And we're really excited because I think it signifies a real shift in thinking at the county, that they understand that the only way to get ahead of the problem is to get ahead of the problem. And that means making sure that animals are spayed and neutered. So the details of that program aren't available yet, but I anticipate they will be available soon. $75,000 a year for 2 years, and the county is managing that program. So that's really exciting for all of us in the animal welfare local organizations. A couple other things that are happening is are that we are utilizing the cheapest and the most effective spay-neuter program locally, which is through Animal Save. And Animal Save reserves a certain number of appointments for Sammie's friends so that we can bring our animals in. Unfortunately, they don't have room in their medical spay-neuter RV for larger animals. So with those, we are at the mercy of the appointment process for local vets, which is very, very hard. It's hard for the community to make appointments for spay-neuter, not to mention the price, but there aren't enough veterinarians locally. There aren't enough new veterinarians going to vet school. So what we expect is that problem will not resolve itself, the shortage of vets and the costs.
I'll tell you what I've had a front row seat at Sammie's, and you know my wife Randy works down there. She's always on her app looking to see if you got enough walkers over there. Yeah. And a lot of times she'll come in on an extra day. We're getting down here to a few seconds, but what's involved with walking dogs? It's what is it, an hour and a half of your time?
It varies. It depends on how many animals there are,
right,
and how many are staff only walks.
Right.
Sometimes there are a number of those, but right now we have a lot of very lovely dogs that are easily walkable by the walkers, and you can basically set your own schedule. You can be on a regular schedule, or you can be a fill-in where you look and see where the need is.
Okay. Fran Cole, Executive Director of Sammie's Friends, Nevada County. What they do there, it's all about love. I seen it firsthand.